Hello fellow Pokemon trainers. Before this video begins, I just wanted to say that the Tornadus and Thundurus events officially began Friday of last week in the US. So if you have not gotten yours yet, again, the way you get them is you go to Target and they give you a little QR code thing, or not QR code, scratch off code thing, and you input that in your game, and depending on which version you have, you'll either get Tornadus and Thundurus. So that's just a recap. If any of you are in the US and you're waiting for this to come out, it's out. If you want to go get it, I would say go get it, just because Tornadus and Thundurus, still very good legendaries, not quite the overpowered broken tanks that are Landorus, but you know, they're still good. Hello fellow Masters of Illusions, my name is VideoJames, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to use Zoroark. Now, as I said in my last video, I promised that I was actually working on this one, and I needed to do a little bit more digging to figure out how Zoroark worked, and find all the possible ways to actually use it. And I gotta say, not that bad a Pokemon. Zoroark, well, I knew it wasn't that bad a Pokemon, it was actually a very decent Pokemon, but it's got a couple kicks. So Zoroark, as we all know, is the Master of Illusion. In fact, it even got its own movie called The Master of Illusion. So with Zoroark having that pure dark typing, meaning we are going to get that weakness to Bug, Fairy, and Fighting. However, we are going to get that immunity to Psychic, and the resistance to Dark ourselves, Ghost, and I believe, what was the other one? Was there another one? No, I don't think there was. And then we see Zoroark only actually gets one ability, which is Illusion. Now, I can understand why it only gets one ability, because it is a unique Pokemon, and Illusion kind of makes sense as it having the only ability, because it is the only Pokemon able to possess this ability. So basically what Illusion does is whenever Zoroark is sent out into battle, it will take the name and appearance of the last non-fated Pokemon in your party. And this actually breaks whenever you get hit by an attack, but it doesn't get broken from weather effects or entry hazards. So it's basically like Mimikyu's disguise, only it's an actual disguise. Now, one of the things I find odd about Zoroark is it has an 88.1% chance male rating to 11.9% female chance rating. Normally, the kind of Pokemon you see that on would be starters mostly, and you don't really see it on anything else. So it's kind of odd to see it on Zoroark. Typing, we see base 510, so not bad. That we've got 60 in the HP in both defenses. We've got 105 in the attack and speed, and we've actually got 120 in our special attack. So we can tell right away, we don't really have a preference, per se, that when it comes to being an attacker, we could go either way, that our attack is just decent enough to do a good amount of damage, and our special attack is in that same range, that we still have enough to be able to deal a good amount of damage. And with our speed at 105, we're going to be outspeeding some basic Pokemon like Charizard if we have max investment, even without a nature, I believe. So, hopping on over into Showdown, we see the first Zoroark set. It's actually a Choice Scarf set. So we see we got the Choice Scarf with Dark Pulse, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, and U-Turn, with the maxed out special attack and speed with the naive nature. Now, the way this Zoroark works is it basically runs as a basic Choice Scarfer, that you could run it, and with the Illusion, you can actually trick your opponent into making a swap out, and then you can use that to predict something, and possibly get good damage off with Zoroark. That, say you had, let's say, a Psychic type out, like Espeon, and your opponent thought, okay, Psychic type, gets hurt by Dark, and doesn't really affect Dark, so I'll send in this Bisharp, and then the Espeon is actually a Zoroark, and once they send in that Bisharp, you throw out a Focus Blast, and you hit that thing for 4 times super effectiveness. So looking at the move pool, we have Dark Pulse there as our Dark type move, that getting that stab bonus from our pure Dark typing, and having the base power, plus the chance to flinch, makes it an overall good Dark move. You could also run the Night Daze move, but I don't really feel like Night Daze is a good idea on a set where the attack isn't boosted. We've got Focus Blast as a way to counter some stuff that we wouldn't normally be able to counter, like Dark types. Okay, I can't really hurt that well with a Dark Pulse. Maybe a Focus Blast, or say we see a Tyranitar. Okay, Focus Blast that boy, because he ain't gonna live this. And then we got Sludge Bomb there as our poison move. That Sludge Bomb is just all around a good move. It has a good chance to poison, good amount of damage, and with Fairy types, it's actually a good counter for them, as well as a good counter for Grass types. That with Sludge Bomb, we don't really need to have Flamethrower, but we could run Sludge Bomb and Flamethrower over Focus Blast if we wanted. And then we have U-Turn there just as our pivot, that if we need to get out of a situation, as always, U-Turn, pivot out of the way. Now, the reason I say run this Zoroark with Choice Scarf is because it could go either way. So it would depend on how you play. So say I had another strong Pokemon that had a good amount of damage to deal. Like, say, Nidoking. That Nidoking has a good amount of attacking potential behind it. Plus, if you run a Life Orb Sheer Force combo, that means that Nidoking is going to be doing a massive amount of damage. And if you have something like that, then you don't really need to rely too much on your speed. So you could have Zoroark running as a Choice Scarfer. Or if you have something that's already fast, like Togekiss, then you could run Zoroark as a Choice Spexer, and you could actually be focusing more on damage than speed. So this Zoroark's basically malleable to how you play. It basically just depends on where you put it in your team and how you want to run it. That is a Nasty Plot set. Now, Zoroark works out really well with Nasty Plot, basically because it can do massive amounts of damage. So say you had a Zoroark and it was disguised as a Clefable. Then you throw out a Nasty Plot, and while they're thinking, okay, Clefable's going to set up, so I might send in something to taunt, well, we're going to be probably faster than something that tries to use taunt, so we'll get the Nasty Plot off, and then next turn we can go for something like Night Daze. That Night Daze, having that good base power at like 80, plus the 95 accuracy, and the 40% chance to lower accuracy of our opponent, means it actually is a viable Dark-type move, and it is actually very useful. Then we have Flamethrower as a Fire-type move that, covering some of our weaknesses, again, Steel types, not really something a Dark-type wants to see, Bug types, counters them, Ice types, deals with them, and basically just deals with a lot of stuff we don't really want to see, including Grass types. And we also have Sucker Punch. Now, the reason I say Sucker Punch on this set is because it works out really nicely. That, say, Zoroark managed to knock out a Pokemon, and then another Pokemon came in, or say Zoroark was already on the field, and your opponent swapped out a Pokemon into a Night Daze, and that Pokemon didn't go completely down, but you threw out the Sucker Punch next turn, and you were able to take that Pokemon down with literally one punch. And then with the EVs, we see the maxed out special attack and speed with the naive nature. Now, with this one, I do say kind of put the investment in the speed, just because it matters a bit more here, since we're running two different types of attack. So you do that, and with the Nasty Plot boosting our special attack, we don't really need to worry about that much investment. You could even take 52 of the special attack out and put it into the attack, and move the EVs that are in HP into the attack as well, and boost that up. But overall, this Zoroark basically just runs as like a typical Nasty Plotter, that basically we're raising our Nasty Plot up to about 2, which means we're going to be tripling our special attack, and we're going to be dealing out massive amounts of damage. And with the Sucker Punch, we're going to be able to do some cleaning up that if our opponent sends in something like an Ash Greninja that has 10% of its health left, well then we throw out the Sucker Punch, and with our attack being as good as it is, then a Greninja isn't going to live it. We have a Substitute Nasty Plot set. So with this one, we got the leftovers with Substitute. We've got Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, and Flamethrower, with the maxed out HP and speed, with the 4 thrown into the special attack, and the Timid Nature. Now, the idea behind this one is basically we're kind of walling Zoroark. So this is basically kind of taking use of the fact that Illusion only breaks if you're hit. So we throw out a Substitute first turn with our high HP, only going to be cutting us down to about 24, I believe. So Substitute going to be giving us that free couple turns while our opponent tries to set something up on us. Maybe he tries to throw out a Leech Seed from a Throthorn. Okay, not going to work. And then we set up the Nasty Plots, get our special attack raised up. Then we go for Dark Pulse. That Dark Pulse, again, very good stab move and very good dark move. You could run Night Daze on this set because you're boosting the special attack, but I just put Dark Pulse on because I honestly think of it every time I think of a Dark-type move. And then we have Flamethrower for, like I said, stuff that might try to Leech Seed you, like, say, Celesteela, or, say, Throthorn. Stuff like that. You get a couple Nasty Plots off and then throw out a Flamethrower, they ain't gonna live that long. Plus, with Substitute, you're gonna be getting free protection from stuff like Leech Seed, Stealth Rock, Taunt. You're just gonna be getting all kinds of protection. So you're not really gonna need to worry about stuff like Throthorn that much, unless they're running Power Whip, or Gyro Ball. Now, a really good combo with this set that is more of just a fun set than rather a Smogon set, which I prefer using fun sets because Smogon sucks. But if we use Drifblim with this set, it actually works out really well. So we have a Drifblim, we go for stuff like Minimize and Stockpile, just to raise our tank potential that we get the Minimizes off, we get our evasion, we get that bit of extra stuff to go into our stuff, that minimize making us harder to hit, and stockpile giving us those free defenses, that Zoroark can actually then take very good use of stuff like the Substitute, and with the Substitute having the boosted defenses, it's going to take longer for it to go down, which means more and more Leftovers health is going to be getting restored to us, and we're just going to be taking advantage of those couple free turns while we're setting up our nasty plot. And then, even if our Substitute does manage to wear away, okay, we still got a couple defense bonuses, so we'll be fine. We can just set up another Substitute and just be free with that. And then the last set is more of a scummy set. So with this one, we got the Focus Sash with Illusion. We've got Taunt, Toxic, Counter, and Night Daze with the maxed out HP and Speed, with the 4 thrown into the special attack. Now, the idea behind this one is basically we want to send this in against the physical attacker. We want to send this Zoroark against something that's going to hit us with a Mach Punch. So, say our opponent had a Salamence out. Well, we throw out the Zoroark, and we just sit there and wait, and we just sit there, we just bide our time, and we disguise it as something like, say, Wobbuffet, and while our opponent thinks, okay, I need to beef my attack up a lot to take this Wobbuffet out, we're just sitting there. We're just sitting there and waiting. Sitting there, throwing out Toxics, throwing out useless counters, waiting for them to hit us, and then eventually, once they get into the high enough range, we can basically just shut them down with Taunt so that they're forced to attack us, and then we go for counter once they hit us. That a couple Dragon Dances off of a Salamence, that's going to do a lot of damage. So we go for counter after that, we deal massive amounts of damage back at them, assuming we're going to get knocked down to 1 HP, which we probably will after a couple Dragon Dances. In fact, we most definitely will after a couple Dragon Dances. So we go for the counter, we take out that Salamence, and then that's one Pokemon down as an attacking move. That Night Daze doesn't need a condition to be able to activate, and it gets the Dark-type stab, so it works out well, plus giving us that 40% evasion works out well when we don't really want to get a hit after taking a major hit. And that is basically how to use Zoroark. So it is a very viable Pokemon, and it actually is very interesting. I'm actually tempted to make a team with Zoroark, just because I've always liked Zoroark for the creativity behind it, that it basically copies other Pokemon, but not like a mime, more like an illusion, like a mirage. And I've kind of also like this design, that the black and red pattern actually looks very nice. Regardless, for now I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you have any Pokemon you want to see me do videos on, let me know down in the comments. Did I just say comments? What is my brain right now? I swear to God, my brain comes up with the stupidest things sometimes, and then 2 seconds later my rationality kicks in, and I'm like, did that seriously just happen? Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you guys a story. So, a few days ago, I was sitting in my room, and I can't remember what it was, but something about diamonds came into my head, and for some reason, I don't know how any cosmic power allowed this thought to even exist, but for some reason, my brain wanted to know how much a pound of diamond was worth, and I asked myself out loud, how heavy is a pound of diamond? Regardless of my stupidity, I'm going to leave this video here. If you guys have any Pokemon you want to see me do videos on, let me know down in the comments, and I will see all you beautiful people in the next video.